Welcome, everyone. Call to order our regular city council meeting for November 2nd, 2021. Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was a little better.
Sylvia, roll call.
Mayor Mays.
Here.
Council President Rosner.
Here.
Councilor Garland.
Here.
Councilor Browse.
Here.
Councilor Young.
Here.
Councilor Griffin.
Here.
And Councilor Scott.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia. We have approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Kim and Tim. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, council. Item next is consent agenda. We have 3 items on the consent agenda today. Item A is approval of the October 19th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes. Item B is resolution 2021-093, authorizing the city manager to sign a maintenance agreement with ODOT for non-standard traffic signal equipment and luminaries. And item C is resolution 2021-094, approving an amendment to the SPOA agreement regarding assignment to the mental health response team.
I move consent.
Second.
Thank you, Renee and Russell. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion to approve consent as presented, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Citizen comments. In this world, we just, of course, take citizen comments and we just have it submitted 24 hours or more in advance. Sylvia, I think we have some today or one.
Correct. We do have one.
Awesome. Go right ahead.
All right. So this written comment is submitted by Dave Sweeney, and he indicated that he was 20-year resident of Sherwood in the Arbor Lane subdivision. And it says, "Dear Mayor and City Council members, I'm writing you with the citizen's comment to follow up on my letter to your meeting on Tuesday, October 5th, concerning the Brookman Road addition and Cedar Creek Garden development. And my comment is twofold. First, my neighbors and I continue to be very concerned with the potential loss of some 70 to 80 giant Douglas fir and cedar trees in a very narrow strip of land that is immediately adjacent to the south side of the Arbor Lane subdivision. See attached graphic. The strip runs directly behind the homes on Shady Grove Drive, from Brookman Road to the east to Red Fern Drive on the west. As you know from my last letter, the developer wants to build 3 houses on this land, but to do so, because the strip is so narrow, 50 feet, would necessitate destroying all of these giant trees, most of which are over 100 feet tall and most of which are over 100 years old. Many of these trees are actually over 160 years old, which means they predate the Civil War, and some in fact are older than both the establishment of Sherwood, 1853, and the establishment of the Oregon Trail, 1843. With all of those giant, majestic, old growth trees, the strip would make a wonderful natural park area, which could include an extension to the Arbor Lane Trail, which currently dead ends at South Red Fern. Saving that strip of land from development and preserving it as a natural park area allows it to be enjoyed by the entire neighborhood and indeed anyone in the city who uses the trail system. Hopefully, with the help of the mayor and the city council, we can all find a way to preserve and protect this beautiful piece of Sherwood history and legacy. What a shame it would be to lose it. What a tragedy to see all that beautiful history, all that beauty and history destroyed for the sake of just 3 houses. And that brings me to my second point. At the last Parks Board meeting, 10-4, Board Member Steve Munsterman suggested that, quote, "If we're going to advocate for parks, we need to do it, and we need to be in front of things, not behind them, and we're all behind this," unquote, referencing the narrow strip of land I talked about in the first part of this letter. I believe he's right, and I also believe that there's another chance for the city, the Parks Board, and all of us to get in front of and equal an equally important opportunity, a real golden opportunity, if you will. So here it is. Second, I would strongly suggest that the two currently unannexed 9+ acres of land immediately south of the Arbor Lane development, the two parcels on the right of the attached picture graphic shaded in gray, offer the city of Sherwood a golden opportunity. If the city were to acquire those two parcels of land, those combined 18+ acres could become a crown jewel of the town in the form of a nature preserve, a nature park area, an environmental outdoor education area, or all three. By connecting it to the Sherwood Trail system, the area could be accessed and used by all Sherwood residents, and the educational opportunities would be almost unlimited. That land offers Sherwood a unique opportunity to enhance the health and well-being of all its residents, as well as have a major impact on the education of every student that comes through the Sherwood school system. I believe there are many avenues of possible funding sources to acquire the land, not just the city-county budget, but also federal, state, and local grants, endowment programs, EPA grants, natural resource conservation service, local businesses and corporations, local service clubs and organizations, the Soil Conservation Board, and on and on. Researching potential grant opportunities and funding opportunities might be something city staff could initiate right away. The point is that the city now has an opportunity to acquire several tracts of land that could offer a plethora of benefits for all its residents. And that to me is well worth considering. But time seems to be of the essence, and the homeowners, in my opinion, should be made aware of the city's interest or we risk losing the properties to developers. Recently, my neighbor Neil Shannon and I paid a visit to the landowners of both the 9-acre parcels of unannexed property directly south of Arbor Lane, the one shaded gray in the picture graphic. The couple who own the 9 acres immediately south of Arbor Lane, the parcel on the right of the picture graphic in gray, the Gregories, have lived there for more than 43 years. They were a delightful couple, both in their 80s, and while they have no desire to sell at this time, they realize that at some point they will. They do not at all like the idea of selling to a developer and seeing their land turned into a subdivision. I mentioned the possibility of the city buying their property and preserving it as a natural park or a nature preserve learning center, and they love that idea. The couple who own the parcel directly south of the Gregories at the bottom parcel in gray, are the Hags who have lived there for 25+ years. They have already been approached by developers who have made an offer on their land. Neil and I only talked to Denise as the husband was not at home, and she mentioned that the offer was not a good one. Still, they have been approached and will continue to be until they sell. She seems more resigned to sell as she witnesses the changes going on around her. Again, the point is to get in front of this, become proactive in acquiring these last few remaining strands of giant old growth timber and incorporate them into the Sherwood Park system. As a bonus, each 9+ acre parcel has a large, beautiful home on it, and neither landowner likes the idea of the developer scraping the house they have lived in for so many, many years. Both homes could easily be repurposed for many other community city uses. With so little green space still available in Sherwood, it is my profound hope that we can preserve and protect as much of this beautiful and historic ground as we possibly can. We owe it to ourselves, our children, and to the generations to come. Lastly, a dear friend of mine, Mike Bindi, the director of North Willamette Research and Extension Center, the main research center for Oregon State University, has graciously offered to host a tour of the Hopkins Demonstration Forest in Clackamas, along with their educator who leads all their youth activities and community involvement programs for a group of Sherwood leaders, the mayor, council members, Parks Board members. If you're interested in this, I'd be happy to put it together. It would give us all some idea of how those 18+ acres might be used to enhance our community. Thank you very much for listening and for your thoughtful consideration. Dave Sweeney.
Thank you, Sylvia. Next on the agenda is new business. Resolution 2021-095, establishing a buyback program for feather signs. Julia?
Thank you. This is really a brief program, and as a reminder, Back in September of this year, council adopted updates to the municipal code, essentially clarifying what had been intended several years ago when the code was updated, clarifying that feather signs are not permitted in the city. But at the time, also, council was concerned about the impact of businesses, especially in light of the issues some of them have been having with, restrictions because of COVID and things like that. And so council did adopt that code language, but also asked staff to look at a program to essentially help compensate those businesses for the loss of their feather signs and advertising. So what's before you is essentially that program. We've outlined a proposal. If you want to make changes, that's perfectly fine. But what we have proposed is that businesses need to have a valid business license. They would basically complete a form in order to get the compensation. The compensation will vary based on how many signs they turn in, from one sign for $50 up to $200 for 3 or more signs. They basically would come in once, and they wouldn't be able to come in 5 times for $50. It would be one time, submit your feather signs, and that's what you get. And then basically the program would be fairly short in duration. We're proposing from as soon as it is enacted until February 1st of 2022. And that would basically give our code compliance officer time to go out, educate, inform people of the program, then utilize the program. And then beginning in February, he would start enforcement more, I guess, aggressively of any feather signs that remain. We estimate actually a fairly minor financial impact. We're estimating about $4,000 for the buyback programs, plus some staff time, which is already budgeted for in the budget, our staff time. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or take any, if there's suggested changes, happy to hear that. But we respectfully recommend that you approve resolution 2021-095.
Thank you, Julia. Questions for Julia? Doug?
When did the ban go into effect, or when does it go into effect?
It was adopted September 7th, so it went technically into effect 30 days after that.
Okay, so it's in effect now?
Yes.
Technically? Okay, so I know I certainly see a lot of these around town. Have we gone by the places where there are obviously feather signs and let them know about the ban yet, or are we waiting until we did this?
Yeah, I think we were waiting until we did this. This sort of got pushed out a little bit, unfortunately. That's on me. We wanted to make sure that we got some buy off on the program before we started enforcement.
Okay, well, I'm in favor of the buyback. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Doug. Other questions or comments? Questions of Julia or comments? Tim?
Yeah, I'm in favor of this as well. I think it's the right thing to do. My only question is I think you said, Julia, that this would be available through February. Is that long enough for our code enforcement officer to communicate with everyone and plenty of time for people to apply?
He thinks so. Originally, I was proposing to have it through the end of January, but because we were a little bit delayed in getting this in front of you, he felt that 3 months was a more doable amount of time. So he was recommending going out till February, and I believe he thinks that is a reasonable amount of time.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thanks, Tim. Any other comments or questions?
I too I'm in favor of it, like we talked about in the work session, and thank you staff for putting this together. I think it's a fair program.
See some nodding heads. If there are no other comments or questions, was there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept resolution 2021-095, establishing a buyback program for feather signs.
Second.
Thank you, Kim and Renee. Discussion on the motion. Tim?
I got nothing. I just forgot to take my hand down.
No worries. All right, all in favor of the motion to approve resolution 2021-095, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. And right on to city manager report. Keith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor and Council. Tonight, got a couple things I'd like to talk about. First, Chief Growth is retiring after nearly 32 years in public safety and 14 years as our police chief. So that leaves us in a position of looking for the next police chief for our community. So wanted to announce that the city has engaged with Prothman National Recruiting Forum to begin a national search for our next police chief. So the position is currently up on their website and we'll be taking applications through the end of the month. And as we continue forward, we'll have more information as we go through this process. But wanted to publicly announce that and publicly announce that that information is out there and to encourage people to share that information as we look to replace Chief Growth after his service to our community. Also, I just wanted to do a special shout out to Angie Haas with the Sherwood Police Department, who planned and organized last Saturday's Shred Food Drive event. And talking to Angie, I understand she's been doing this since 2009. This year, the organization was able to shred 4,600 pounds of materials from the community, and in addition was able to gather materials for the Helping Hands Pantry. So wanted to give a shout out to her and a shout out to Bill Collins, who also assisted with this program. Heard a lot of positive feedback and a lot of positive comments. And with that, I'll turn the time back over to you, Mayor.
Thanks, Keith. Questions for Keith about either of those or anything else, or questions for his team? So I understand the leaf pickup starting this week. So how can people find out about the schedule and blah, blah, blah?
So we do have information on the schedule, and Craig, if you want to pop into on our website at the Public Works Department has a curb leaf pickup program information out there, and that has a map of the times and locations that they're out and about. I saw them out this today as I was driving to and from work. So Craig, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you got it, Keith. We'll try to keep the map updated, the locations we're at. So I think you nailed it.
I think we're very fortunate as a community. I was looking at some notices from a community surrounding us that says, pick up your leaves and bring them to this drop-off point. And so I know sometimes our leaf pickup schedule isn't conducive to everybody. We get there too late, their leaves are still falling, whatever. We do 2 passes. I think we do a really great job of getting the majority of leaves picked up. And we all do have greens bins that we can also help put our own leaves in between, fill your bin and then put some to the curb for the leaf pickup. But I think we're very fortunate as a community that we have this program, and that's a lot of work. I've been behind one of those trucks and they're just moving that little vacuum thing back and forth, and they're wearing their rain gear and it's cold out there. And yeah, so thank you, Public Works. I think we're fortunate.
We, Counselor, this is Craig. We do have one day in December, we'll have a leaf drop at Public Works. We used to do 3 of them with Bring Canned Foods, but we weren't getting the participation, so we just dropped it back to 1 the last couple of years.
Oh, that's another great option for, we have one tree that will drop all the way past our second cleanup. So that's nice to know there's a drop off point.
Here, other cities in the region that don't do it citywide or don't do it as well. And everyone gets to do the same and help everyone clean up and keep hopefully most of those leaves out of the storm drains, which cause problems. And of course, when it rains, not if, but when it rains, and if there's leaves start clogging drains by chance in your neighborhood, be sure to be proactive and help to clean those drains yourself. But if you're not able to, for whatever reason, don't hesitate to contact the city to alert them of flooding and problems. Other questions for Keith or his team? Awesome. Council announcements.
I
Doug,
guess I'll jump in. Or
there you
Doug,
go.
Doug, you had your hand up? All right.
You go ahead. I'm off
Just-
you.
Yeah, I'll just do a quick one. Last Monday, we had our Willamette Intake Facilities Board meeting. For those of you not aware of what the Willamette Intake Facility Board is, it's a coalition of several of the cities around the area here that focus on water quality and water that we get from the Willamette River. So just wanted to call out one cool thing that they showed us during this, everything that we're doing virtual these days, all of those meetings are done virtually as well. Instead of us, the members of the board, the commission, going and doing some tours of the Willamette Intake Facility itself, we've chosen to have some virtual tours actually created and filmed, and those are available on YouTube to see. And so they did the second virtual tour just recently, and I just wanted to call that one out because that footage that they did for this not only shows a bit of the facility, but actually shows the divers going into the river and doing some of the work on the intake equipment itself. And it was fascinating to see. You actually have first person view cameras on the divers as they're underwater doing the work. So really fascinating stuff. Even if you're not into water so much, it's really neat to look at. So if you check out the Willamette Water Supply website, it's ourreliablewater.org. And I'll have a link to it on my council page on Facebook as well. It's ourreliablewater.org. There's a lot of information about what they do, and also has those videos of the tours and some information about the pipeline construction that's going on as well. So great information if you want to nerd out on some water quality information. I think that's all I've got for tonight.
Thanks, Sean. That's great. Yes. I know it's shocking, but generally city councilors don't realize they get so involved with water, and we all kind of internally nerd out on water, and not as popular in the community, but it's great to know that it's available if people do want to explore. Doug.
Yeah, thank you. So first off, tomorrow night at 5:30 to 7:30, there is the fifth meeting of the Sherwood West Community Advisory Committee. So this committee's been meeting for a few months now. It generally meets about once a month to kind of refresh the plan for Sherwood West. And one of the topics this go around is we had an online open house. Lots and lots of feedback from the community on that. So thank you for all who participated. So we'll be going over that as well as looking ahead to scenario planning. So that'll be tomorrow night at 5:30. It's you can get a Zoom meeting link on the Sherwood website. It'll also be posted to the YouTube page after it happens. It'll be recorded and posted afterwards if you want to watch that later. Going over to Planning Commission, last week the Planning Commission had one of their marathon sessions, went late into the evening, had three very important public hearings that they addressed, and they'll all be coming to council. So we get to look forward to these three things coming to us, I believe, in 2 weeks from tonight. So the first one was recommending adoption to this body of the economic opportunities analysis, and then the second one was recommending adoption of our first ever Sherwood residential design standards. So this has been years and years and years in the making, first in wanting and hoping and planning, and then a lot of work over the last probably year and a half on the Planning Commission and the public as well. So that's exciting. And then finally, the other big thing that's even more years and more work in the making is the recommendation to council to adopt the Sherwood 2040 comprehensive plan. So the end is in sight. We've been working on this thing for as long as I've been involved in city government, which is, quite a while now. So it's exciting times to see this so close to the goal line, and the countless number of people who have contributed to this. It's overwhelming. So that's really exciting. And then coming up next week, no rest for the weary. Planning Commission has 2 more public hearings. So next Tuesday night, 7 p.m., they'll have 2 public hearings. Both of them are also exciting. Both of them are applications to develop land in the Tonkin employment area. So 2 different parcels there. Julia's going to jump in.
Yeah, Councilor Scott, you may not be aware of this, but both of those have been continued, so they are not going to be.
Well, they're coming soon, and it's still
soon,
exciting that we're going to continue to see more development in the Tonkin employment area. So stay tuned for the updated time on those. That's all I got. Oh wait,
Thanks, Doug.
Congratulations to our beloved Oregon Ducks, debuted at number 4 in the college football playoff rankings today. So go Ducks.
Go Ducks. Excellent news. And congratulations to the Planning Commission for picking that meeting to invite our new city manager to attend what ended up being a marathon meeting. What time did that meeting wrap up approximately, guys?
It was 11 o'clock. Exactly.
Is there a policy about you have to willingly extend the meeting if you get hit at a certain hour with that group?
Not for the Planning Commission, only the council.
Oh,
Public hearing. Can't do it.
so Keith, too, did you join that meeting from your office or the comfort of your home?
I actually did that one from the comfort of my home, but my wife came out and said, "Is it still going?" And I said, "It is." And she said, "I'm going to bed." And I said, "I will see you tomorrow." So I did pick a good one, but it was a fascinating meeting to attend for sure.
Awesome. Renee, announcements?
I actually don't have any tonight.
Okay, awesome. Kim?
Just a brief. We had last Thursday a YMCA Board of Managers meeting. That Board of Managers is sort of transitioning from being the Sherwood Board of Managers to more of a regional Board of Managers. So it's going to be interesting as to what my role as a liaison is going to be on that moving forward. But they're looking, at moving out into other communities, whether that not be necessarily be a brick and mortar building, but bringing other activities. They're looking at Canby and surrounding areas. I don't have the map in front of me, but so that they've got some big exciting things that they're working on. And then Police Advisory Board, last Thursday, 2 meetings back to back on that night. We met our new city manager. I think that might have been 2 Thursdays ago. I don't even know. They're rolling together. And then we did policy updates. So Captain Hanlon presented the policy updates this time. And those will be coming to council here shortly, I believe, as well. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. Russell?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind everybody on the December 4th is the Winter Festival. And so the parade this year will start around, if you want to be in the parade, it's family-friendly parade content. Along 12th Street, which is over there by Kohl's, you can get in line and you can go down the high school marching band and Renaissance singers I guess they'll be at the other end, but Renaissance Maid Marian Court will be in the parade. And, just anybody who wants to, if you want to ride your bike and have lights, that's completely fine. It's a lot of fun. And that's going to wind its way down Sherwood Boulevard until it gets down to Cannery Square. And then the tree lighting is at like 6-ish. I don't know how prompt we are, but it'll be around that time. And there will be like in Rebecca Lodge, there'll be a holiday bazaar with lots of vendors, and there'll be singing and crafts, and it's going to be great. So I hope it's as nice weather as we had for Halloween. Maybe not, but hey, it was such a nice Halloween. I just hope we have really good weather. And then the Parks Board met last night, and now that the Parks Board master plan is finished, they started discussing their SWOT analysis, as probably many of the boards are beginning to do. And they were talking about, okay, what's next? And so they have also had information from citizens, Mr. Sweeney and Neil Shannon. Those two are great. I just adore Neil. And, just they're like, yeah, we do need to get in front of this process. Let's start thinking about where should we be more assertive about a public park, not just, I know we have land use laws that, provide for green space and park space as part of a development. But I think the Parks Board is hoping that maybe they can start focusing on a more specific, directed approach to let's kind of pick an area-ish. So they heard the information about that flag lot that has those houses planned. The pre-app has been done. They went to the meeting, and like citizens do and are supposed to do, they have alerted the various boards and people at City Hall, hey, heads up, which is exactly the right thing to do. And now staff and elected officials are, thinking and looking into that whole concept. And, my personal hope would be that since we don't have a lot of big groves of big trees like that hanging around, that hopefully the city might be able to do something, negotiate something. I don't know. Somebody needs to wave the magic wand of brotherhood or however that happens. So that's it. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Russell. Tim.
I don't have a lot for this evening. The one thing I will mention, we had as most of you know, the League of Oregon Cities. I guess, Keith, was it a conference or just
it was abbreviated? Yeah.
Abbreviated business meeting was held. I was on the nominating committee for nominating a slate of directors and a new president for next year. We got through that process and the league voted on that. Pretty almost unanimously. It was a pretty clean, easy process that we went through on that, which was great. Dave Drotzman from Hermiston will be the new president. And then we have 3 new directors also from small cities around the state, which I think is great because the League of Oregon Cities, their job is to represent cities, and most of the cities in the state are small. So I think it's appropriate that we have a lot of representation from small cities at the league. And I just want to also point out that Keith's term as president of the league is up January 1st. Is that correct, Keith?
Yep.
And Dave will be taking over. And I just
so Dave technically goes to treasurer and then he's vice president.
Well, that's right, Dave. Exactly. But I just wanted to say thank you to Keith for all his work with the league this year. It probably didn't realize when you got involved with it what a pivotal year it was going to be. But
Yeah.
The league had a huge impact on COVID policy in the state and working with the governor's office. And I just appreciate all the hard work that you put in advocating for businesses and our cities and our citizens as we went through this year, not to mention the long session with 3,000 bills that we had to keep our eye on that were working their way through Salem. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. Very nice of you to say. Yeah, just one of those odd years, but definitely not what I imagined when I was first elected treasurer 3 years ago. So Tim said it, we had the abbreviated annual conference in the last 2 weeks, and that went well. Tim, thanks for willingness to serve on the nominating committee and for standing in for me last week as you and staff welcomed County Commissioner Nafisa to our community and helped get her familiar with this corner of the county, which I think is very important to help build those relationships. So thank you for doing that, as well as Keith and Bruce and Julia. That's important stuff.
We had a good time. It was fun.
And thanks for whoever scheduled the great weather for Halloween for sure. And I think everybody had a great time watching all the little kiddos and big kiddos enjoy it. Anything else for the good of the collective? Well,
Do we have a
thanks.
work session or anything after this? Is this it? We're done for the night?
We are done for the night.
Wow. This feels like a bonus. Like this is amazing. Thank you.
Don't jinx us.
Yeah,
They might quickly
really.
add something.
We could walk something on right now if you want to spend some more time with us.
And just be
Well,
careful.
there was talk about
We
that.
might get punished and have, like 2 meetings in December or something, but we'll see. All right, everyone, be safe, be smart.
Oh, hey,
Sure.
Keith, can I mention one more thing?
Certainly.
Just so council is sort of aware of what's kind of working on the background is Keith too is getting some information from the county, but we've been asked if us as a city is going to extend the eviction date from 60 days that the state currently has to 90 days, which is what the county and some of our surrounding cities have done. So Keith Campbell is going to get us some information on like how many residents in Sherwood have even applied for that eviction. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Or assistance.
Moratorium.
The
Yeah, whatever.
assistance. Yeah, the rental assistance. So if they applied for it, there was this 60-day window and they're finding that's not enough time to get through the process. So a lot of places have extended that to 90. And there was word that maybe the state was even considering special session for that. Yeah. So
The state's looking at doing it themselves. It's a topic that really cities don't have the authority to do, but cities are doing it anyways. But an important first step is to understand how many might still not have applied that need more time. So
yeah, so just giving you a heads up that sort of might be coming forward to us in the future.
Hopefully the state will get on board with this, since the holdup is the state and county bureaucracies around this. So if the state is in the best position to solve it.
all right. Anything else with that? Thank you, everyone. Yeah, be safe. Shorter daylight hours.
Yep.
Hopefully